Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, mic check. Hello, guys. What's going on? Welcome to session 13 of Fasting Roll Call. Happy Sunday, right? Sunday, December 27th. How's everyone doing? How's everyone going? How's everybody? Period. Christmas is over. The holidays are on its tail end, if not on its way out. But how was your Christmas? How were the holidays? How was your fasting routine? So earlier this week, I created a consistency challenge week where I challenged any of you who have been following me to stay accountable by posting in the comments and letting me know how you've been doing in terms of consistency, whether it's your routine in fasting or the way you've been eating. But we're going to go over that in a little bit. I want to talk about a few things before we really get into that, but I do want to take a second at the top of the hour here, and I'm looking at my notes, so excuse me as I go back and forth, but not even like an hour ago, I had somebody donate on PayPal $100. Chizoba Nasina, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, but Chizoba, if you are watching this, thank you. Thank you so much for the generous donation. Completely unexpected. There wasn't even a note or anything that I found with that donation. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you all for the support. And very unexpected. So thank you. Thank you so much, Chizoba. If there's a way you can touch base with me, I'll leave this to anyone as well. I know some people ask how they can get in contact with me. You can always message me on Twitter or Instagram at Finally Fasting, or you can email me at finallyfasting@gmail.com. But thank you again, Chizoba, for the generous donation. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scroll up here. I want to just go through a couple of the comments and say hi to people since it's still manageable at this point. But I see, because we've been talking about consistency challenges and being consistent regardless of how big or small, because it doesn't matter how big or small. The important thing that I want people to get down is the consistency part. Pamela Williams is saying here, consistency check, fasted for 47 hours, an hour refeed, and then started another 48-hour fast, 4 hours in. Congrats, Pamela. Thank you for sharing. Best Mommy You Know says, yes, that's right. 90% of people don't even commit to the New Year's resolution plans they make. And we're going to spend some time on that tonight. The saying that I hear all the time is new year, new me. It's something that I've said to myself. It's something that I thought of, or that I think about every single year, is January 1st is here. And then before you know it, sometimes not even by the end of the day or the week, I'm already done. And I want to talk about getting out of that habit, but we're going to get into that. Exodacity, how's it going? I set a 24-hour goal for myself on Christmas Eve and made it to 49 hours. Congrats. Currently 6 hours into a 96-hour fast. I can do this, and you can. You definitely can. Amanda Nidegger, how's it going? Good evening. Checking in as I put my littles to bed. Hi, Amanda. Welcome to the stream. Celeste Morris, hi, everyone. 60 hours into my 312-hour. Wow. Keep us posted on that, Celeste. 13 days. That's longer than I've ever done. The longest I've ever done was 11 days. But best to you. Keep us posted. Let us know how you're doing. Yeah. Thank you for stopping by. Becca is in here as well. Hello, all. How's it going, Becca? Jay Harper is here as well. Howdy, y'all. What's going on, Jay Harper? Info Quester, 5 hours into my 36-hour fast on my 10th consecutive 42 to 45-hour fast. Congrats. I actually just finished my... What am I at now? I'm working on my 12th, 11th, 12th. I mean, honestly, but before that, I was doing 6 months of 65s and 3 months of 90s. But InfoQuester, congrats. That's great. I'm glad to hear it. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of like get into the topics I want to talk about. I'm just making sure I'm going through my notes properly. But again, hopefully all of you had a great holiday. I know that the holidays aren't technically over for a lot of people. I know that New Year's is coming up, and I know that New Year's is one of those times of the year where everybody wants to get a fresh start, a clean slate. They're looking at COVID and they're using COVID as an excuse to like how shitty the year is. But honestly, COVID shouldn't be the reason that you kind of like tailwind into, or, cycle into this like forget it mode, not going to take care of myself mode, because we all know that like your health is the most important thing that you should be concerned about. It should be at least one of your top priorities. And if it isn't, we're going to talk about it. So, okay. So what is fasting roll call? I always want to just like put this out there for people who might be new, who are watching this, or who might not have an idea what this is about. So fasting roll call is pretty much a place where we come in and we talk about where we're at fasting wise. It's a place for accountability. It's a safe space where people can share how they're feeling, how they're doing, where they're at in their fasting protocol, fasting regimen, and whether you're a veteran faster, whether you've been doing this for months or years even, or you're new to it. You're thinking about doing it. Maybe you're, doing 16s and you're thinking about doing OMAD at 23s, or you're thinking about even pushing that to a 36. This is the place for it. This is where I tell people to talk into the community, talk to the people in the chat, show some accountability, share what you're doing, how you're doing, if you're struggling. We talk about successes. We talk about failures. We talk about life. This is really what this is about. This is about not only my life, but this is your life. This is your health and how to better it, and how to find some kind of accountability, some kind of consistency in what you're doing. Whether it's, again, a low, not even a low, I don't want to say low. Whether you're still getting the hang of fasting, or you've been doing it for a while, it's a good place to have a community talk about it. And really what it boils down to is our health. Yes, I've done it for vanity. I still do it in a way for vanity. Like, that's what got me motivated in the first place. But the longer I've been doing it, now that I'm 15 and a half months into doing this, so much of it has turned into like, yeah, once the vanity part passes, once I lost X amount of pounds and like I'm where I want to be, then you need to start thinking about what the next step is. And for me, a big part of that is just bettering my health. And I'm not only talking about physical health here. I talk about the mental aspect of it. I think the one thing that a lot of people don't discuss is how a lot of what we do, a lot of how we feel, a lot of our actions when it comes to our health or how we're fasting or what we're doing, a lot of it is a mental part that I think a good amount of people avoid, or we forget that is such a big part of what we do and how we do things in our life. It's something that I will continue to push for, and I don't know everything either, right? This is something that I started off doing just to see if I could like finally conquer my eating issues and my weight issues and my health issues. And I haven't found that finish line. That finish line isn't there. I don't think that finish line will ever be there for any of us. Keep that in mind, because every day you are learning something new about your health, about your journey. And even though technically I might be at the number I want to be at, it doesn't mean that it's over, because I got to stay at this number. I got to make sure that my numbers health wise are going to be good. Also, I look very blue on the screen. My goodness. I have different lights and like this is very blue. Anyway, I need a little more orange in my life. But a super chat from Brett Mason Media with a $5 super chat. Brett, thank you so much. Brett says, thanks so much. I fasted consistently. I lost 125 pounds. Wow, congrats. Mother lost cancer battle. I'm sorry to hear that. Depression gained it all. Starting over. Appreciate your encouragement. That's a lot, Brett. That is a lot to share. First of all, thank you for the super chat, but thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story. That's not something that's easy to talk about. I mean, I can relate in so many ways. I know how that cycle goes. I know the yo-yo part of it. And I feel like at least where I'm at in my life right now, I feel like I'm in a much better place where I still have those ups and downs. And I think I have a better grasp at making sure that when I do have those down moments, they don't stay. They don't go from days to weeks to months. And then before you know it, I'm just completely spiraled out of control. So I'm glad to see you here. I'm glad to see you show some accountability. And if there's any way that I can help you out, please feel free to reach out. But Brett, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. It's always hard to transition when I read something like that. And I think a lot of us can relate. A lot of us feel very similarly when we cycle through that kind of thing. We lose weight, we feel good, and then somehow, some way, we end up gaining that weight back. Sometimes for a lot of people, me included, we put on more weight than when we initially started with. And then that cycle continues over and over and over again before you're asking yourself, am I ever going to figure this out? And I hope I can help people with that because it's something that I still struggle with today. And it's something that every day I'm just trying to figure out how I can better and keep myself out from cycling over and over. And that's kind of what I do this on Sundays for as well. So to kind of like go back to like what fasting roll call is, yeah, I hold this every Sunday because it's a place to help people show that accountability, but it's also for myself to give you guys an update of where I'm at, because the one thing I'm good at is running and hiding away from my failures. And having this stream, making a YouTube channel is a way to show accountability to make sure that I don't fall off that wagon. It's not easy. I was going to say, is it easy? I already know that answer. It isn't. This is to show up every day, to show up and like share those pieces of life with you guys that I normally have never shared with anyone before. It's in a lot of ways, it is difficult, but it's a blessing in a lot of ways because I've met so many people. It's also surprised me how many people share similar thoughts and something that I never thought that I would have been able to do. And to relate with many other people is, I can't even put it into words how great that is. I am Love with a $10 super chat. I am Love. Thank you. It's so nice to see you. Hi, Jerome. Hi. How's it going? Although I've been struggling, you still inspire me to do better. I'm glad. I'm sorry that you've been struggling. I'm going to do Rolling 72 starting January 1st. I will be consistent and will reach my goal in 2021. I am Love. I'm great to hear that. It's great to hear that. I'm glad to hear it. I have certain feelings about starting January 1st, but I understand and I get it. Just a piece of advice. I know that you want to do Rolling 72s and you're going to be consistent and you're going to get it. And I have all the faith in you, but I also want to make sure that you have that backup plan in place. So please remember, and I you know, I have videos on this as well, and I'm sure you've seen them, or if you haven't, please take a look. But make sure you do have your backup plans in place just in case those something happens during the 72s, because you know how it goes. Life happens and things change, and I just want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to keep succeeding. But I am Love. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Thank you for showing up, sharing your story as well. So thank you. Thank you. Renz. Hi, Renz, with the 50 pesos super chat. Renz, how's it going? Hello, hello at work now, digging this time frame. I'm glad, Renz. Thank you for showing up. Renz is actually on my other channel, but Renz shows support on both of my channels. So Renz, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support, guys. Thank you guys so much. Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and let me just make sure I'm going through my notes. So before I continue on to the next part, if you are new again, I explained what fasting roll call is. Another question that people might have is, who am I? So my name is Jerome. I have had issues with being overweight my entire life, and not even being overweight, but being obese, and then being morbidly obese, to the point where I, you know, have struggled with my weight. Like lost it, gained it back, lost it, gained it back. And more times than not, I was always in the obese, morbidly obese part of my life. And then I found fasting, extended fasting, particularly, that has helped me lose 90 plus pounds, 95 plus pounds. So for people who might be curious, I used to weigh 235 plus pounds. I'm 5'3". So if you can imagine my height, 5'3", 235. When I did start this journey, I was 220 pounds. And then currently I hover anywhere between the 125 to 135 range. Lately, it's been around the like 134 to 136 pound range, which I'm pretty happy with. I have extended fasted for 15 plus months. It used to be varied fasting, anywhere from 36 to 168 plus hours, and then eventually scaled it down to 90-hour rolling fasts. By rolling, I mean doing them back to back to back to back. I did 20 of those in a row, and then I did 65 plus hour fasts for 6 months. I think about 6 months. And then now, after I hit my goal weight, I am currently doing 42-hour fasts. I'm in the maintenance part of my journey. It isn't the easiest. I have seen the swings of it going up and down. One of the reasons that extended fasts have worked for me is because I have trouble with portion control. I eat a good amount. And if you've watched any of my past videos, you'll see me eat 5,000 calories, 6,000 calories, 7,000 calories. And a big way for me to offset eating like that was to fast for long periods of time. But now that I'm in a maintenance mode, I have lowered the fasting hours to 42-hour fasts minimum. I'm still rolling. I still do them back to back, but I am trying to limit my calories. Anywhere between 4,500 and less would be great, but I am finding myself eating anywhere between 4,500 to about 5,000 calories, somewhere around there. And it varies. So, okay. That's who I am. A lot of this has turned into an accountability. Like, I use YouTube to show accountability. I use YouTube to show transparency in what I do, to let people know that, like, hey, you don't have to eat the way that I do, but this is how I do it. And for people who do have trouble with portion control, it is a way that you can still lose weight. At least in my respect, the way the way I do it, I've been able to lose weight this way. I've also been able to reverse my type 2 diabetes. I've been able to reverse my high blood pressure. I am in the best shape of my life. I just do what I do because I like to show people that it's possible. On top of that, it's helped me to find other people to talk to and share my story with, but it's also put me in a position where I can help coach people. So I do accountability coaching. I do help people when it comes to coaching, when it comes to fasting. But even if that's something that you don't do, that's what I have this for. That's what I have my videos for. I share as much as I can. I'm as transparent as I can be with a lot of the content that I put out there. So that is who I am. So today is Sunday, right? Sunday, December 27th, right? And then today is day 7 of 7 of the consistency challenge week that I put out on Monday. If you're unfamiliar with what this is, on Monday, the past Monday, I started a challenge where I said, show me how consistent you can be. And whether that is doing rolling fasts, whether that's doing a fast per week or varied fasts throughout the week, whether that's eating a certain way or exercising and like making sure you're logging X amount of steps or miles or whatever it may be. All I wanted was for people to show up in the comments and let me know where they're at. And surprisingly, a lot of you did. And it was great. I was reading through the comments. It's nice to see that people were actually living up to the consistency challenge. Even if they weren't able to get through it the entire week, they still showed up. They let me know. And I think a lot of that, the reason I do that is because I want to show people that if you show up, whether you are failing or succeeding or you're somewhere in between, all you got to do is show up. If you're showing up, I think that puts the wheels in motion of trying to like just get through the day. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. If things were perfect, this channel wouldn't exist. If things were perfect, the graph on my weight scale would have just went completely down. If things were perfect, I would have never been obese, morbidly obese in the first place. Showing consistency, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people, to keep doing things over and over and over again, getting back on that horse after falling off that wagon or whatever you want to call it, getting back on that wagon, I think it does put those wheels in motion to at least remind yourself that you need to get on the ball and get back on the grind when it comes to our health. That's also why I wanted to do it during the week of Christmas, because I know Christmas is a really tough week. I know that Christmas is one of those weeks where a lot of people just throw things away because they're like, oh, Christmas is here. Let's just eat pizza every day until Christmas. And then Christmas, let's eat everything. And then after Christmas ends, instead of just telling yourself, okay, let's start. Most people don't do that because you know what comes next. People start thinking about the new year. They're like, well, New Year's is a week away. Let's just start January 1st. And that would be different if you've only told yourself that one time. But think about your past. Think about how many times you have said that to yourself. Think about that very moment. And like, I know that I'm not the only one. The reason that I do fasting roll call Sunday nights is because me personally, I used to always tell myself, I'm just going to start on Monday. And then when Monday rolls around and Wednesday hits and I'm not able to do what I need to do, I just throw everything away. And I said, well, the weekend's coming, so forget it. Let's just start Monday. I don't want to have those Monday moments anymore. You shouldn't want to have those Monday moments anymore. You shouldn't want to have these, I'm going to start X, Y, Z day time. Because if you do that, you will never get yourself out of that mindset. And I want to help people try to understand that it doesn't matter what day, what time of day, why aren't you doing it right now? That's what this stream is about today. That's what I wanted to focus on today. So as far as consistency, as far as that challenge week, I'm very proud of a lot of you. For any of you that not a lot of you, for all of you, for anyone that chimed in and let me know how you were doing that week, this past week, I'm very proud of you. And like, I don't mean that in a condescending way. It's not like I'm here to pat you on the back, but it is honestly, it is truly a big deal to take the time to actually follow through with what you're doing. Because these are things that we don't necessarily have to do. Do you have to show up to work? Yeah. Do you have to show up to school? Sure. Because that's money that you're losing out of your pocket. These are, going to school or whatever, like those things are different than this, your health. Yeah. Your health is a vital part, if not the most important part of your life. But these are things that we don't really think about often because money usually isn't involved. Like your life is involved, but these are things that you don't think about because they're happening in the background. And before you know it, it's too little too late. So when I say I'm proud, I truly am. These are things that you don't have to do, but you do. You don't have to watch my videos, but you do. You don't have to take my advice or listen to what I have to say or listen to me say the same things over and over and over again, but a lot of you do. So for you to show up in the comments and tell me how you're doing, like, that's great. I just hope, because that's it for this week. I'm not going to be doing this. I'm not going to be doing this like every single day because I could not post a video if this was my only job, that would be wonderful. I would do this 24/7, but obviously it doesn't pay the bills 24/7 either. But I might as well just give you an update of where I'm at with this consistency challenge. I want to make sure I have my notes correct here. So I'm going to read through this. So whatever goals you had, whether it was fasting a certain amount of time, or if it was even just making sure you hit that timer every day. I think a lot of people if your challenge, and I'm not even saying this, not because that challenge is over, because you should just set yourself up for another challenge. You can still update me when I post videos and be like, hey, Jerome, I'm still going. I just want you to know where I'm at. That's why I tell people to always tell me in the comments how they're doing, what they're doing, because that shows accountability. In terms of my challenge week, what I gave myself was pretty heavy-handed. One, I was going to continue my 42+ hour fasts. That was the first part of my challenge. And so just an FYI, I did a 46+ hour fast. I did a 66+ hour fast. And then currently I was working on another 42+ hour fast. Sorry, I was looking for my phone. And currently I'm 43 hours and 18 minutes into my current 42+ hour fast. This is, I believe, the 12th. I think this is my 12th or 13th. I think 12th. 42+ hour fast back to back. So that was part one of my challenge. You guys might not be surprised about that because I've been very consistent when it comes to that. But the second part of my consistency challenge was to let you know how I did in terms of like exercise. And I said I would do 5 miles of walking minimum Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I did. I also said I would do a minimum walking of 3 miles Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, which I did. I would also do weight training Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, which I did. I also did a training session with a trainer on Saturday, and he kicked my ass. I'll get to that if I have a little time later, but I did all of that. I'm actually very sore today from that training session yesterday. And then Sunday today was my day off. I still walked today. I walked 3.57 miles, 3.67 miles. In total, this entire week, I walked 29.48 miles. I walked almost 30 miles this week. I walked in the 15-degree cold weather with like a -2 wind chill. I did 5 miles in that. I showed up. I showed up. The last part of my challenge was to post a video every single day this week to give you guys a platform to let me know how you were doing fasting wise. That was my commitment to all of you, and I did all of that. Even on my day off today, when I said I wasn't going to work out, I went for a walk. Now, the one thing that I will eventually start talking about is how it's important to give ourselves time off. I really should have given myself a day off today and I didn't. And it's something that I will eventually start talking about because I am that all or nothing kind of person. And I sometimes, when I'm on the ball about stuff, I tend to overdo things. And eventually, when that happens, I start to burn out. And I know that I need to be better about that. But anyway, that is where I'm at as far as consistency. I've been very consistent. I always tell people that consistency is very important. Whether you complete your goals or not, it's about minimizing the damage and getting back on the wagon to be consistent again. If you can do that, you will start to realize that it becomes routine and then it becomes part of your day. And before you know it, it isn't that big a deal because it's just part of your life. Your health should be a priority in your life. Think about the people around you. Think about if you have children. Think about if you're married or you have a partner or you have people who are close to you. You want to make sure you live your best life healthily. And it doesn't mean that you have to give everything up. Obviously, you guys know that I don't. I have trouble. I can't eat the healthiest, but I try to take care of myself as best as I can while enjoying my life, while knowing what I'm doing is still sustainable, is still enjoyable. Because if you can't do that, if you cannot find enjoyment in what you're doing, then there's no way that you're going to be able to just ride this out for the rest of your life. I am hoping that as time goes on, the more I learn about myself, the more that I grow, that I can keep taking what I learn and share it with all of you. I mean, even yesterday with that trainer, if you watched my video yesterday, I talked about how that trainer kicked my ass, but he told me about how it's important to find that like level of going too much, but maybe finding that level where you don't overdo it and then learning how to pull back when you need to. And how, to me, it related with fasting, because there are times where I push myself a lot harder when it comes to fasting. And then there are times where I pull back because it's like, okay, it's too much. I got to pull back a little, but I got to make sure that I'm still doing what I need to do. So that was Consistency Challenge Week. If you guys like that, I will try to do another one. I don't know when. I was thinking of doing it the 1st of January, but then that means I'd have to post the video every day for you guys to let me know how you're doing. And posting a video every day is pretty difficult with the schedule that I'm doing. On top of the coaching that I do for people, on top of my other YouTube channel, on top of like my other part-time job, it's quite a lot. But you know, one day, if this channel ever grows enough where it makes enough money, I would love to just do this as like my full-time gig. Because if my full-time gig was just making sure that I'm on top of my health and that I can help other people try to figure out how to find success in losing weight and taking better care of their health, I would love to do that. I've said this before, but I hope that the success that I found, I hope that I can have other people find that success as well and keep that success. Because why wouldn't anybody want to share that? It always reminds me of people who are like, and like it, you know, obviously I have a Patreon and I have people who support in many ways and I appreciate that. But like for some of these other channels about like, you know, the 5 tips to do such and such, and here's the training where it's like, I always say that all the content that I share is upfront. Everything I share with you on these live streams, like these are technically coaching sessions. I mean, they're not one-on-ones, but I think they're very helpful. And I want to try to provide that for as many people as I can. So, okay. I'm looking at my notes. I'm just seeing where I'm at. So, okay, I want to talk about the new year, but I also want to talk about this past Christmas. So on Christmas Day, I ate a lot. Typically, now that I'm on these 42-hour fasts, I give myself less than a 3-hour window, and I give myself a 4,500 calorie limit. And this past Christmas, I refed at about 10,000 calories, and I did that in an eating window of over 6.5 hours, almost 7 hours. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to give myself a day to relax. Those were one of my pullback days where I was like, relax, don't sweat it. You guys saw that video. If you didn't, you can check it. I think I posted that the other day where it was just like, hey, like, I can't be perfect every day. I can't do things perfectly. And there are days where I'm going to want to eat more than I typically do. I'm going to eat longer than I typically do. And I have to learn to be okay with that instead of being or feeling guilty about that. There's a reason I'm talking about this. There's a reason I'm bringing this up. So the day after Christmas, after I ate that much, after I ate for a longer period of time, I ended up gaining 8.2 pounds. I went from 132.4 pounds to 140.6 pounds. I gained 8+ pounds. It was one of those things where I, like back in the day, that kind of stuff would have like really just set me back. I would have said, this isn't worth it. Why would I even want to continue doing this? I had one bad day. I gained all this weight, and all that weight I lost in the past was a waste. But because I've been doing this for so long, because I know that 8.2 plus pounds that I gained wasn't actual true fat that I was putting on. Over time, I've learned that weight is going to fluctuate. It's going to go up and down. And sure enough, today, after gaining 8.2 pounds today I weighed in at 136 pounds, which means I lost 4.6 pounds of that 8 pounds that I gained. That 8 pound. I mean, again, a lot of the scale is such an awful monster. We look at that scale and we let it rule our lives. We look at that scale and we let that scale decide whether we should eat shitty that day or eat healthy that day. You guys know what I'm talking about. I've done it. There are times I've stepped on that scale and I'm like, why? Why did it do that? And then I'm like, this isn't worth it. And then I just end up eating. I end up not only eating, but I eat more than I should, than any of us really should. And then we cycle. So what I've learned over the course of that time is to trust the process, to trust what I've been doing. That's why I won't back off of these 42-hour fasts, because I know I'm in maintenance mode and I need to trust the process. These 42s are new for me, but it's a new phase of my weight loss journey that I want to be in. I want to learn how to like limit my calories if I can. And I want to learn new things about myself and learn a new aspect of fasting, a new aspect of weight loss, and see if it's something that I can sustain. And if it is, then that's more info, that's more knowledge I can share with all of you. And like even a small thing, I won't even call it a small thing, but even being able to look at the scale and know that it isn't a big deal anymore to see it go up 8 pounds and then to see it go down 4.6 pounds the next day. It literally made me just like chuckle when I saw that weight today. Cause I'm like, yeah, see, I ate 10,000 plus calories. That 8 pounds I put on, like more than half of it dropped already the day after. If I wasn't going to refeed tonight, who knows what that weight would be at tomorrow. Probably would have been fine. I mean, I'm fine now. I'm back around the maintenance mode, or the range I want to be in, around the 125 to 135 pound range. I'm, pretty much where I'm at there. So, there is a point I wanted to bring up with this. I did have one more note there about the scale. And part of that was, I said here, stop worrying about the scale and pay attention to your consistency. If you trust the process, if instead of looking at the scale and letting it run your life and being upset about it and eating your feelings away, if you just did what you were planning out to do and stayed consistent, the results will follow. They will follow. So if we segue into our routines and doing those things out of habit, because a lot of why we do these things is because of habit. we get frustrated, we feel demoralized, and we end up eating, we end up overeating, and then we end up throwing everything away, whether it's our exercise routine, whether it's staying on top of what we need to do to stay better in terms of our health. What we end up doing is we push it off, right? We say, let's forget about it. I don't want to think about it right now. I don't want to think about eating X, Y, and Z. I just want to like eat what I want. I want to like eat my feelings away. I want to wait until after Christmas, after New Year's. And so this is why I talk about 2021. Don't get me wrong. I still look at 2021. I still look at the new year and I want to have goals. I still want to have goals. I think it's human nature in us to have a new year start and want us to do things. We want to like look back at the past year and say, what a shitty year that was. I want to have a better year this year. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, I think our problem is we look at that and we do it every single year. It's not just once, but we do it every year where we just throw away whatever progress we had instead of just living in the moment. Imagine I started my weight loss, my fasting journey in September of 2019. And knowing me, the decades of throwing things away and starting over again and cycling through it over and over again, because I've been so consistent since September of 2019, like the results, they speak for themselves. I talked about this yesterday. I have learned more things about myself because I have stopped looking at my life in that cyclical manner. Instead of starting on Monday, instead of starting after the holidays. Because think about it. What happens in 2021 when you start on day one and it doesn't go according to plan? What's your plan after that? What's your plan after that? Is it to start the next day? Is it to start when Monday hits after the weekend's over? I'll tell you how I used to think about it. I'd be like, well, January's not over yet. January's still the first of the month. So even though I didn't do what I needed to do January 1st, even though I didn't do what I needed to do the week after, it's still January. It's still at the beginning of the month. So as long as I can like start sometime in January, I'm going to be good. Soon enough, that time is going to pass. And you're going to be in that same situation again. And then you're going to be telling yourself, well, my birthday's coming up. I'm going to start on my birthday. I'm going to start on my birthday. I'm going to start on this day. This is my anniversary day. This was a special day in my, why? Why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you putting yourself in that position? This is honestly, it's a bad habit. It's one of those habits that I'm guilty of. I have been there. I have done it. I have cycled. Where is this? I just wanted to, just for frame of reference, I look at this and I remember who I used to be. I look at these pictures sometimes and I'm just like, if I had that mindset, if I kept telling myself that that's how my life, if I kept putting myself in that position, I would never be out of like where I'm at here. And I'm talking about just like in the physical sense. Like I look at this picture of me as well, right here. And I mean, it's sometimes it's amazing to me to see the progress and to know that throughout the 15 plus months of where I was at, I have found something that has worked for me because I have been consistent. It has never been a downward trend the entire time. I have lost weight. I have gained weight. I have lost weight. I've gone through like a week of shitty eating, but I have found a way to rebound and keep continuing. And that's when I told myself that if I stayed consistent, I was going to find success. I was going to have results. I was going to find new ways of learning how to cope with my eating issues, with my overeating issues, with my binging issues, with looking at the scale and feeling shitty about myself or whatever. The scale does not control you. Look at your non-scale victories. Look at things that, like, think about your health and how it can benefit if you just stayed more consistent with what you do. That's why I show up here. That's why I do this every Sunday, because it is, yeah, it's a place to share and it's a place to have a community, but it's a place for me as well to say, hey, I'm showing up. I post videos regularly because I'm showing up. You know what? Even if a month from now or 6 months from now or a year from now, I lose all my subscribers or I get 0 views or everyone dislikes it, I don't really care because I'm showing up. I'm doing what I need to do. I think a lot of us can look at our life that way as well, is that you can't have that background noise bother you. You can't have those days where you have a bad day at work, a bad day with the kids, a bad day with your, your spouse, your partner, whoever. You can't use that as an excuse to form your bad habits again. I know what that is like. If you only, I don't have to explain it. I know a lot of you can relate. I know it resonates with a lot of you. You have a bad day. Something shitty happens at work. Somebody says something to you that you don't like. And before you know it, before I know it, I'm on my couch watching TV, ordering Grubhub, eating my feelings away. And then feeling the absolute, like, the weight on your shoulders the next day because you feel so shameful. Like, what did I do? Now I have to do all of this over again. The progress I made has just been, I don't have to go further with that. You guys know how that goes. The really honestly, the only thing that I can finalize there is, what are you waiting for? Why are you waiting for January 1st? Why are you not taking advantage of what your life is offering you today? Why? Because it's Sunday night and you're going to start Monday morning? Is that your answer? How many times are you going to say that? Before 6 months from now, you're going to be like, remember when Jerome said that? And I'm still doing it. Why? Why do that? Don't look at life that way. Look at life as right now. Take advantage of the tools you have, the knowledge you have. I think the hard part about it is when you fail, is the failing part. When you fail, our instincts are to automatically start over. Instead of taking that failure and using it as growth, we look at that failure and we compound that failure. We make things worse. We do things worse because I guess we're used to it. So when I talk about failure, let's say you broke your fast early, right? Let's say you broke your fast early. Let's say, I know how this goes. People will break their fast early that they won't even stop the timer because they're just like, I didn't do it. I didn't hit the goal I wanted to do. So I'm not even going to look at the timer. I'm just going to eat everything I want. I'm going to say, fuck it. And I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to start in 2021. So instead of accepting that failure and compounding that failure, why not minimize the damage? Why not take that moment of failure? I don't like to look at it as failure anymore. I like to look at it as room for growth, as part of life. It happens in life. I like, for me, if you were going to break early, And instead of just throwing everything away, be mindful, stop your timer, eat what you want, whether it's just a quick snack, whether it's an entire meal, whether you want to have 10,000 calories or 20,000 calories or whatever. Minimize the damage, hit the timer, keep your refeeding window small, and then start again instead of just throwing it away for the rest of the night or throwing it away for the rest of the weekend. Because even if you can't keep the window small, then just do it for the rest of the night. Be like, okay, I'm just going to like enjoy myself with my friends, or I'm going to watch a movie and I'm going to eat tonight. And then I'm going to hit that timer again and start over. Minimize that damage. You will realize that maybe instead of letting the damage go for weeks or months, that gets like shortened to days or a couple hours. How do I know? Because I've done it. I've had those moments. It's not going to be easy. And it doesn't mean that it's just going to be perfect. You know, like some days are going to be better than others. And it's okay that you're going to have those ups and downs in life. I think a thing that a lot of people talk about as well is like, they talk about like, yeah, well, I used to be able to do it before. And then, so you expect the same results. You expect to be able to do X amount of fasts, or if you minimize the damage before, that you can minimize it again and it's going to be better. It's not always going to be better. You're going to have worse days. That's life. That's life. You guys know it's a matter of time before something bad happens with me. And like, I don't mean to say that in like a negative, like it's crazy, you know, like I don't mean to say it that way. I just mean to say it as in, I'm going to have my good days and I'm going to have my bad days. And I think the only thing that will keep me going is to share those bad days, to be vulnerable when those bad days happen, because then I'm showing up and I'm trying to like mentally figure out how to minimize that damage. That's it. Sorry, I'm making that big sigh because like I think about where I'm at and how I've been and how I've acted and how it's affected me. And like I sigh because I know that feeling of pain and I know how frustrating it can be. I just hope that these things are helpful and that they resonate with you in a way where you can look back at this and be like, yeah, it doesn't always have to be like this, because it doesn't. It really doesn't. It doesn't. So we talk about not waiting, this and that, but I do have goals for 2021. I do have goals. I'm still continuing what I'm doing. I don't want to give up on my 42-hour fasts. I want to learn how to do maintenance. I want to learn how to like at least cut back on calories here and there, listen to my body, listen to my mind. I want to keep continuing strength training. I will continue to do at least 3 times a week of strength training. I want to do at least 5 or 6 days a week of consistent cardio, whatever it might be. I want to continue these 42-hour fasts. And I want to stay, I mean, like, I'm not giving myself a range of weight. I want to like stay in that forever because I don't know what's going to happen with the strength training. I don't know if I'm going to add extra like muscle or what that's going to look like, but I'm looking forward to having a great 2021, just like I had a great 2020. 2020 hasn't been the best year. COVID has been unkind to a lot of people, to mostly everybody. I have tried to make the best out of this year, and I feel like I have, despite how bad things got. I could have easily, when COVID hit in March, when they closed the gym, I could have easily just threw everything away. I had about 2 weeks or so, off and on, of shitty eating, of eating back-to-back days. I could have easily thrown it away. And then I started this channel because I wanted to find a way to not fall back into that hole. And I'm not saying that you need to start a channel, but like you need to find a way to not fall into that hole either. Like I'm like sitting here, I'm looking at the time and I'm looking at the date and I'm like, it's the 27th of January. And I'm like, the new year's right around the corner, and come on guys, you got it. Like when I'm trying to go like this, that's what I'm trying to do. Not this, like that, like the new year is here, but there's no point. Don't wait until the new year. Start your life. Why? What are you waiting for? If you just got to get your mind out of that habit. I think once you can get your head out of those feelings, then I think a lot of that is going to change. So those are kind of my goals. I'm going to have another video that's really going to go into that a lot more. I'll try to post that before the end of the year or the first of the year, but we'll see. So really quick, guys, if you haven't had a chance, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. I know that's like kind of a cheesy way, but it is a way to help what I do. I don't know. Apparently doing that helps, the videos or whatever, or the algorithm. So please, if you have a chance, do that. So before we kind of wrap things up, I do want to point out that for others, or for those who might be curious, I do offer coaching. It is something that I do on a one-on-one basis, whether it's accountability or in terms of fasting. It is something that I do offer. You can find some of that info on my Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/finallyfasting. I have a little bit of this here. So I put accountability check-in posts where people check in. I will, I reply to everybody in there and let people know, just to see how people are doing. I share how I'm doing as well. And then there are different tiers for that, for those accountability check-in posts. I try to offer like other videos as well. Just saying hi to everybody, et cetera, et cetera. And then actually once a month, what I do as well is I do Zoom. Well, this last week I had a Zoom call, or earlier this week I had a Zoom call with all my patrons, or a certain tier of patrons, and they can come in and they're live on video or audio as well. And we talk and chat, and it's just a way to like, kind of like just different perks for people who might want to be interested. At the end of the day, it is a way to support, but I do want to like offer that as well. So if any of you are interested, please feel free to check that out. Otherwise, that is going to be it for today. It's not exactly an hour, but our hour is coming to a close. And I just wanted to take a second and thank everybody for stopping by. I want to thank everybody for the super chats today. Again, I wanted to thank the generous $100 donation on PayPal. Thank you so much for that huge support, but thank you for everybody else. Thank you for coming into the comments. Also know that like I read all the comments in here. Don't think that I don't, because I read almost everyone's comments, that as much as I can. So I will go through it in chat. I always like to see how everyone's doing and what they're sharing. I just know that I don't have time to get through everything in here today. But with that being said, I hope all of you have a great, rest of whatever weekend is left. But the new week is coming. The new year is coming. Let's make the best of it. Your life starts now. Bye, guys. I will see you soon. See you later. Take it easy. Bye.